Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Lori Cheek of Cheek. Lori, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And what I want to do is just read a little bit more about Lori so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. An architect turned entrepreneur, founder and CEO of Cheek, a mobile dating app that makes misconnections obsolete. Lori is a Shark Tank veteran, was recently listed as the digital dating disruptor and one of the top 10 CEOs to watch. A University of Kentucky architectural graduate, Lori is no longer building structures. She's now building relationships. Lori, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's do it. So to kick everything off, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Well, I've always been coming up with ideas my whole life, but there was one day that when this light bulb moment would not go off in my head. I couldn't stop thinking about this idea. And I told hundreds of people about it over a year period. And everybody was like, this is genius. You've got to bring it to life. And I even had people calling me weeks after saying I needed your products in the subway the other day. So, I heard it enough that I decided to make it happen. So that was 11 years ago. And I launched the company over 9 years ago. And it's been quite the journey, I have to say.
Nice. The entrepreneurial journey is always an interesting journey or a roller coaster, whatever you want to call it. So it's great to kind of hear that, not just hearing those people say you should create this, you actually went through it and created it in true entrepreneurial fashion. So I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper, hear a little bit more about Cheek. Could you tell us exactly what it is, what it does, and how it serves the clients you work with?
Well, the whole idea started out with me living in a city of 8 million people, coming from a town of 2,000 people. And I realized how difficult it was to even meet someone where there's this many people. I mean, New Yorkers are just, really strangers to one another until you get in a close proximity. But I also thought it was very hard to find a date after living here for 16 years. So Cheek actually helps make real life connections for dating. So real time, real life. And it started out with a deck of cards that you could slip to strangers. They were dating cards that had a funny pickup line and a code that led to an online profile. And we've since pivoted in an eco-friendly way, which we got rid of the cards. And now we have a Bluetooth app that sort of does the same thing. So if you walk into a bar or a cafe, it connects you, like your phone's become a beacon. So it tells you who's single in the same space, and you have a chance to interact in person before starting this virtual nonsense that usually leads to nothing.
There you go. Yeah, you can actually see maybe I should go in that bar or I shouldn't based off of whatever connections you
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
see. Exactly. So what would you consider to be what I call your secret sauce? And actually it could be for your organization or it could be for yourself, but what do you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique?
Well, I think our secret sauce for the app is actually pretty much what I just said. The fact
Mhm.
that you have an opportunity to strike up real life conversations face to face before this, the swiping stuff that you can do in the comfort of your own home that really doesn't lead to a lot. I mean, I've tried all the dating apps, and the number of times you make a match, it is really slim chances to actually make a connection and find someone back in the real world. And
Right.
my secret sauce is that I have been completely stubborn since I was a kid. And I think to be a successful entrepreneur, that's one of those bad characteristics that actually comes in very handy, and not taking no for an answer and just bulldozing forward no matter what.
Exactly. You have to be relentless, especially when you have a vision and a goal, and especially when it's something that's unique or trend setting or something that, hasn't been created before. But I like the fact that you mentioned that too, because I think a lot of times, the apps, they're either real world or they're not real world. So the fact that it kind of sounds like you kind of merge those two together where you have that kind of app feel, but at the same time, you have to have that Bluetooth connection. So you have to be somewhere in the vicinity of the person. Would that be accurate?
Exactly.
Exactly. Awesome. 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 And I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this could be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
I would have to say fitness has really been a crutch for me over the past decade building this business. I mean, I've been more stressed doing this than anything. Although it's been a magical experience, I have been more stressed in this than anything else in my life. And I find my release at the gym. I go there religiously every single day, unless I feel like I'm on my deathbed or traveling in an airplane for 24 hours, and I still find a way to work out.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. And I even find like at the end of the day, I usually have to go to the gym. That's what I try to put into my plan because it does get all that stress relief out. And you know, if you don't do that, then it can start to build up and become a lot more. But when you're able to do that on a regular basis, it definitely helps.
Yes, it does. Exactly.
Nice. And now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this is a word of wisdom or piece of advice. Or if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
Well, I think it's important, first of all, to surround yourself with the people that you want to become. That's probably the best advice I've heard. I mean, if you're surrounded by naysayers or negative people or people that I mean, I even remember some of my best friends early on when I was hitting some serious brick walls in this journey. They're like, when do you just decide to pull the plug on this thing? And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? How long have you known me? Like, I don't know. I just think there takes a lot of self belief um, and determination. And I was born with both of those things, but also just to make sure that you're around people that you admire and that are super supportive.
Absolutely. And yeah, your environment can definitely determine your altitude, as they say, is and depending on who you're around and who you're not around, that could definitely, you know, make or break you a lot of times. For people that may not have been born, you know, with that that gene and that ability to do that, what would you kind of recommend to those people to kind of, I guess, if it can be developed?
I mean, I think it's important to find mentors, and that's something that I actually didn't know to do, but
Mhm.
that's sort of surrounding yourself with the right people. Um, so I think, yeah, finding people that you admire that have been down that road before. I mean, I've gotten tons of calls from entrepreneurs before that have watched my journey and want my advice. So I'm happy to take those calls. You'd be surprised at the number of people that have been down that road. They've been there before starting out. So I think that's probably some good advice for people that aren't born with the kind of stubbornness that I was.
Exactly, exactly. No, it's great to be able to kind of tap into that expertise and tap into those people because we're always trying to, a lot of times when you start something, you have a vision, you have a goal, and a lot of people give up on it. So I definitely appreciate you for going and continuing to build your business and build your vision that you have because so many people don't do that. So I appreciate that.
Well,
And
thank you.
you're welcome. And now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So, Lori, what does being a CEO mean to you?
I mean, I consider being a CEO as having invented something and built this dream of mine. And being a CEO to me means living a lifestyle and not a job. So,
Mhm.
you know, I gave up a 16-year career in architecture and design to build this dream. And now I'm not getting paid to build someone else's dream, working 40 to 50 hours a week. I've got a life dedicated to building my own, and it's been the most magical road of my life.
Nice, and I definitely think that's everybody. That's just what everybody could definitely aspire to do if you have that vision to go on and do that. And definitely, you know, it can be difficult sometimes when you are leaving what is the norm or what is the comfort zone, especially. But I appreciate you for doing that and also helping out others as well do that. So, Lori, I appreciate your time, and what I want to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know, and then of course how best they can download Cheeked and find out about all the awesome things that you're doing.
Yeah, so our app is free if you're single. It works well in an urban environment because it does work within a 30-foot radius. So if you're out in the boonies, like where I grew up in Kentucky, it might not work so well. But if you are in a city, you can download our app at Cheeked on the iTunes store. We also have a spin-off of Cheeked called Networked. It's the same sort of app for networking, and that's in the Google Play and iTunes store. Both are free. You've got nothing to lose except a little space on your phones.
There you go.
And on social media, we're pretty much cheeked on everything.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And we'll make sure to have those links in the show notes as well so that anybody can follow up with you. But I appreciate your time and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you so much. Nice to speak with you.